What's up, guys? Welcome to the last podcast of the. I'm sorry, I got a notification on this stupid app for no reason. Don't tell me about stream. I'm not streaming. Anyway, welcome to the Bomb Squad. Welcome to the last episode of the year. And we got another Christmas classic. Well, it's not really a Christmas classic, but it does take place over the holidays, kind of. So today we're talking about one of Martin Scorsese's last final masterpieces. Not his final. He's still alive. He still made like a billion other good
Yeah,
movies.
he's still doing all right. Yeah.
He just made the two best movies of the last 2 years. Anyway, it's a missed Scorsese masterpiece.
Yeah. It's a forgotten masterpiece for sure.
A lot of people don't even know about this movie. So come back as we talk about the hidden gem of the Scorsese filmography. What's up, guys? Thank you so much. If you want to support our podcast, please give us a like and subscribe. Of course, check out our deep dives, which are little video essays about certain films, but also check out these movies. We have 3 movies on Tubi. The last one's Empty Space and Borderland. So go check them out. Click the QR code. It'll take you right there, and then we'll get started. So now, please support us. And until then, back to the Bomb Squad. Wow, perfect timing. Different? Glad someone wasn't singing in the background while I was doing that commercial or whatever the hell Josh was doing.
I was unraveling the thing. It was messed up.
Yeah, Speaking of unraveling,
I am unraveling.
Today's movie is 1999's Bringing Out the Dead, directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Paul Schrader. It was like a Taxi Driver reunion.
Yeah,
and also,
they were back. Yeah,
don't even try to look up any of Paul Schrader's politics ever. It's based on a book by John Connolly.
It's insane.
It's just the opposite of whatever anyone else thinks. It stars Nicolas Cage, the late great Nicolas Cage, who's also still alive. I just like the term late great. It stars Patricia Arquette, John Goodman, Tom Sizemore. Again, if you put in Tom Sizemore and politics, your computer will explode. Also, Tom Sizemore, anything that you did outside of acting, and your computer will just be like, don't do it, buddy. And also, it stars the acting debut of, at the time, Mr. Jennifer Lopez, who thought that he could steal Ben's girl, but he never could, because even Ben can't keep her down. But it's the acting debut of Mark Anthony in a very interesting role for him, and of course,
unrecognizable almost.
The greatest GOAT of all time. This movie stars Ving Rhames. So, Bringing Out the Dead.
Juilliard alum,
and also star of the Kojak remake that nobody but me remembers. It was actually pretty good. I only saw the pilot, which is probably why it got canceled right away, but still it was a good pilot.
That's all right.
Oh, also it stars our favorite actor, Cliff Curtis. We talk about Cliff Curtis every time he shows up because he kind of plays a different race every time he shows up.
Yeah.
Psy.
He's a Mexican in Training Day. He is Middle Eastern in Three Kings, and I think in Collateral Damage, he's like Guatemalan. In this movie, I think it's kind of implied that he's Indian. He's definitely of Middle East descent.
Psychotes. I don't know. That name could be anything.
So. Yeah. And by the way, he is from New Zealand.
I know. He's no race he plays. Yeah.
Yeah. He's never played Malayan, but that's cool. I love Cliff Curtis. We'll talk about him when we get to him. But yes, so Bringing Out the Dead, 1999. It was the highly anticipated reunion of Paul Schrader and Martin Scorsese, which I even forgot about until I looked at this thing. But it takes place in the last 3 days of a paramedics work week. He's been working for, I think at this time, it's like 8 days in a row or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's actively trying to get fired because he hates his job. He's also working the night shift in New York City in the 90s. They make a point of being like, hey, this is in the 90s before everything got cleaned up, which is hilarious because Scorsese filmed it in the same areas that were supposedly cleaned up for the timeline. Yeah. Of course, if you know, according to Times, here's some trivia. According to Tom Sizemore, him and Mark Anthony did not get along and almost got into a fight. Which, if you know Tom Sizemore, it was
checks out.
Yeah, it was 100%. And
no
then
substance use involved at all, I'm sure.
Martin Scorsese said that this was a particularly tough shoot, which for Martin Scorsese, it's like, really? This is like one of your shortest films. But because of the cold winters in New York, it was filmed almost entirely at night. Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage and Patricia Arquette were husband and wife at the time. They divorced 2 years later.
Oh, what?
Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, what a bombshell.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Huh.
Schrader went on several ambulance rides to get a flavor of the film. This was the last film to ever be released on Laserdisc, which you guys don't even know what that is. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And of course, as always, it was a 65-day shoot, and Nicolas Cage immediately attached himself without hearing to the story, because if Martin calls, you answer.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So cool movie. I don't know how we're going to really discuss this movie because it takes place over 3 nights. Every night he has like a different partner, because that's how it is. Like in, I think the last night they asked him like if he can trade up. Yeah. And so it's not really like a linear story. There's a lot of stuff that carries over between nights, but like it's mainly just about Nicolas Cage playing this kind of guy who's at the end of his rope, but he's all like, he doesn't know. His main goal is like, he doesn't know if he's actually helping people or if he's just there to kind of witness how terrible the earth is.
Yeah.
Is this the most Catholic Scorsese movie? They're all Catholic, but is this the most Catholic?
No, not even close. He's made a movie about Jesus. He's made Silence, which is about priests.
It feels like it's more Catholic.
This movie isn't even that Catholic at all. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I feel like this movie is kind of more about like meaning. Like it's kind of like a myth of Sisyphus kind of deal, where it's like he has to decide if life is worth saving or not.
It's Catholic.
If I were to say, I would say this is probably his most like agnostic or even atheist type of movie, because there's no like, kind of the big point is that for Nicolas Cage at least, he thinks that like, the death is the final thing, which is like against Catholicism, like 1,000,000%. Why do you think it's Catholic?
Right? But he okay. So the
poster is a cross, so there might be an argument for it. By the way,
it's like a Swiss cross.
I mean, there's so much, but like the very first thing they go to, it's him. His first partner is John Goodman, and they go to this call where the dad in the family is like, had like a seizure or something, like something with his heart,
like a heart failure,
cardiac arrest. And Nicolas Cage is kind of talking about how he's like, oh, I'm literally only here to like bear witness to death, like just people's just kind of like embarrassing death. And then
because he's on a streak of not being able to save any patients for the last long time. That's a very important part.
It's been a lot, 8 months or something like that.
Yeah.
He's given up, and then he kind of tells, because Patricia Arquette's the daughter, and he kind of tells her like, oh, put on some music he likes. That usually helps. But he doesn't even believe it. Like, it's kind of one of those where it's like, oh, he's just going through the motions, but then that actually somehow works.
Yeah, and it's almost like just a little bit.
It's like faith. Like, it's like he doesn't have the faith, but the rites still mean something, and it's almost like a weird, like, oh, even if you don't believe in it, maybe like there is something to this,
it's kind of like a loss of faith in a way. Like it's like at one time he did have faith, and now he's kind of like lost, not having the same maybe Catholic kind of thing that you're talking about, a religious side bent.
I do think you have a good point. I don't think it's necessarily specific to Catholicism. I think it's more about someone finding his faith again, whether it's in humanity or in religion or in like in yourself, even, because he has to kind of find that as well. Because as we said, he's on an unlucky streak, and like if you're I'm gonna keep calling him a paraplegic. If you're a paramedic in New York in the 90s, you're gonna see a lot of you're gonna see a lot of patients every single night. So to never have them survive has got to weigh on someone. Like he's also not sleeping.
That's gonna be like 100 people.
Yeah, and it's also kind of, it's not really super implied, but there's an underlying inkling to the whole thing that they're on the night shift. So maybe these are the guys that, like, I've worked on the night shift and they very much treat you like, oh, we don't care what you do. Like, as long as the stuff needs to get done overnight, we don't give a shit about anything else. Like, they kind of hire.
You mean the paramedics themselves?
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Like,
Not just the paramedics.
We know this is a
nurses,
cesspool. You got to take care of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. The monsters come out at night. You wrangle them however you can.
Yeah, just it's just like a churning. Yeah, because when they get to the hospital, we should also say it's funny. Like, metatextually, the dispatcher is Scorsese, who's like directing them to every new job. And it's like, oh, that's fun. You know, it's just such a good touch. You know.
And I do like when Scorsese puts himself in his films. He does it a lot, but he always gives himself like a pretty meaningful role. Like here, like kind of that metatextual of him being the dispatch, but also just in general, like the fact that he has like he was like, I need a whiny New Yorker to be the dispatch, and he's like, I know.
That'll be me.
Yeah,
it's
always like the Flower Moon. He basically like looks at the camera and he's like, this wasn't enough. Like I was never gonna be able to bring enough justice to the story, which is like a crazy thing for a director to admit in his own movie about the subject matter.
It's like, I can't do this. Well, even in this one, he's apologetic. He's like, I'm really sorry I have to do this to you. And it's almost like he's like saying like, hey, I'm sorry to like Nicolas Cage's character that I'm like putting you through this like perpetual suffering.
Right.
You know, it's
I think you put more sincerity behind Scorsese's calls than I, because like he doesn't really give a shit.
I thought it was kind of more novel.
Bad call, it's always like, sorry to do this, guys, but let's get it done.
You know, it's a wink, but it's like it's a tender wink. You know,
I don't think it is at all. He sounds like a dick all the time.
I can see it.
Well, because the hospital they go to, which is like just a madhouse, is called like Perpetual Mercy, and it's almost like ironic because it's like everyone in there is perpetually suffering, and like there's no mercy there, you know?
Right. And there's even like a lady at the front desk. Well, there's like a lady who like intakes the patients, and like she just like mad dogs every patient that comes in. She's like, we didn't ask you to do the cocaine, so how about you stop breathing or go do your cocaine somewhere else and pass out? And it's like,
because they have. So Patricia Arquette plays the daughter of the first guy that they take to the hospital. John Goodman is like his partner the first night, and they go to the hospital, and it's very funny. You see the different characters, like we said, the nurse the admitting nurse, she titles that to the cocaine guy or the alcoholic guy. She's like, well, I think if we let you go, you're just gonna end up drunk again. So what's really the point of this, you know? And then you have the security guard, whose main thing is that if he takes off his sunglasses.
Don't make me take off my sunglasses. Yeah.
It's about to go down.
And he speaks in the third person too a lot. He's like,
which is a very
Chris isn't going to deal with this, you know. He's so cool.
He's the best character. And then you have the two main doctors, and all of these people are played by famous people. Josh, go ahead and tell them who the female admitting doctor is.
Oh, Ada Turturro. Mrs. Soprano herself.
Mrs. Carmela Soprano, the most level-headed person in The Sopranos.
I'm trying to remember her fake Indian name in The Sopranos, but I can't.
What is her name in The Sopranos?
It's Janice, but she goes by a fake Indian name for like a while because she's like, I'm a changed person, but I can't remember what it is. Parvati.
And the other doctor is played by Nestor Serrano, who you know from Bad Boys and a million other movies. But it's funny because
he's always so solid. He's so 90s.
But he plays like this cynical guy who's like, why are you bringing this drug addict in here? Just let him go. Let him die in the streets. Like, I don't care. And then she plays the other one who's like, no, let's bring him in. Like, we need to get him water. Like, he's sick. Like, and you see the differences almost between everyone. I think what really makes this movie work is that it's constantly moving. Like, it never feels like the city never feels like it's asleep, which of course it's New York, but also you're always meeting characters there's even like the old man who's like getting annoyed. Mark Anthony plays this kind of crackhead guy who's like constantly being admitted to the hospital because that's what happens, you know? And so they're trying to he's trying to get water and they eventually kick him out. And then there's like this old man who lets him go just because he's like annoyed by him. But it's like all these different people are interacting, and you never know who's going to show up the next night or the next time. So it makes it for like a kind of chaotic feel. And I think that might be why people don't like it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And like I think like on that exact same thing, it's like especially in like the hospital scenes, like like you were just saying, like there's the two doctors that have like the two different opinions. Like one is like, why is this guy here? Like this is wasting resources. And the lady's like, well, no, like he just needs some food and some water and a bath, and he'll be like much better. And it's like they're both right. Like he will just come back, and it's like they are wasting resources. But it's like he is a human being, so it's like the movie like never like says who's wrong or right. So it's like the whole time you're just Nicolas Cage in this wave of like everyone has an opinion on the importance of like helping these doomed humans.
Right.
And it's like, what is the point of his, like, should he keep on doing this or should he not? And it's
like
with
it's
everyone having
enough,
an opinion.
But it's also like you have to do it. I don't know. It is interesting.
I think that they pretty much like because Nicolas Cage is kind of thinking the same thing too. Like, is his job as a paramedic to just be there? Because like 90% of the people they go to, 90% of the calls, it's just not going to end up well. And so is his job to just go there and kind of tell the family this is what's happening, or is it to actually try to save these people? And you kind of see in his partners the different opinions as well. I think it's cool too, because like we start off with John Goodman. He's the most professional. The reason that he's on the night shift is because he's actually a fireman. And so he's kind of doing this to pick up extra shifts during the holidays. And so he wants to like go to the lieutenant, and so then he'll be out of this whole situation because he'll make enough money to not have to do it.
Right.
But it's also like you can tell that he's kind of shut it off because his only like goal every night or every time they get in the car is what is he going to eat for lunch, which is like at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Right.
Not that many. And he really wants lo mein.
Right. And it's like, and I think like something like exactly like that thing, like having like only being like worried about lunch. Like he's so practical, like down to earth. Like if you watch this podcast all the time, you will know that we just did Batman Returns. And one thing we talked about in Batman Returns was how the different villains are kind of like what Batman could have been.
Yeah.
Like, and this movie is kind of similar to where it's like, we're going to discuss these 3 different people that he rides the ambulance with. But like they all 3 kind of show different ways that Nicolas Cage could interpret his job.
Yeah.
And like John Goodman is like, don't worry about it, buckle it down, worry about what you're going to eat for dinner. That's the only thing that matters. Who cares about the rest of it? Don't let it get to you.
And they even have like, because he's like, oh, I'm not hungry. He's like, yeah, you don't eat, all you do is drink coffee and whiskey. And
you're just like, on that
I eat food.
I do like. I like how neurotic. His name is Frank. I like how neurotic Nicolas Cage plays Frank the entire time. Like he never seems like he's relaxed. If that guy came in and I was having a heart attack, I'd be like, "Oh, that guy's not saving me even a little bit."
But I do feel like I do think this is.
There's 2 other things that we have to say to kind of establish is that one of the things is there's a new type of heroin on the streets called the Red Death with a very cool little symbol, and it's going throughout the city, which is why they're busier than normal. The other thing is that because of that Red Death, there was a homeless teen who OD'd earlier, and now Nicolas Cage has seen her ghost, as he calls it. And it's never 100%. Well, we'll talk about the ghost later, but those are the big things. Is that he sees a ghost
everywhere.
Yeah, he sees it everywhere. She'll take the form of people. Like he'll look at someone on the street, and then he'll look again, and she'll have her face. It's probably we'll talk about it as we get through it. But Josh, what were you gonna say?
No, I think this is one of Nick Cage's like best performances. I just think like this perfectly, if you've ever had a high stress job that you like hate and want to quit but can't for some reason, this is like the perfect like feeling of like being trapped in that, where it's like even when you do finally get some sleep, it's not enough, you know, and it's just like every day
you're always just constant dread.
You're just begging to be fired. You're just like hoping something happens, you know. It's so good.
And if you've never had a job where you can't quit, well, you best start believing in this economy because you're in one.
yeah, but, more relevant today.
Yeah. And so that's all the first night. They do all that kind of stuff. He kind of talks to Mary, who plays Patricia Arquette, and then she also knows Mark Anthony. He used to hang around. Is it said that the dad is a former pastor? Right? He's something like.
I'm not sure if they ever say his job. They might though. I might just missed it.
Something. Yeah. I think that's another cool thing about this movie, but it makes it a little hard to get into details because everything is kind of told in passing. Like we don't even really know what Mary does. We know that she has some kind of job because she's always kind of dressed up for work, but we don't really see what she does. We don't really know. Like we see one shot of Nicolas Cage in his apartment, but that's about it, you know?
Yeah.
And then we have one of my favorite scenes where, so that's the first night, Nicolas Cage, they want to, and then they also, to end the first night, they reach into Mr. O. Mr. O is this old homeless man who constantly gets the cops called on him, and he's just kind of a stinky. The reason
he's always calling for the ambulance because it's like my feet hurt, and he literally you could tell he just wants somewhere like warm to like sleep, you know,
and they have to take him.
They call him Mr. O because as they're picking him, he goes oh, like I don't think that like that's not his name. It's just all he says is oh. Yeah.
Also, a big thing is that he stinks really bad.
And he reeks. Yeah.
And then, and it's very funny because when they finally bring him into the hospital, the female nurse is like, "Oh, come on, let's get a water. What you need a blanket?" And the guy nurse is like, "Get him the hell out of here. He has to sit outside if he's gonna be in
right."
And even Viz is like, "What the hell's he doing in here?" So those are the big players in this movie. Mr. O doesn't really count out that much, but he's just kind of indicative of.
There's so many like characters in one scene who are great in this. Honestly, I mean that's just a Scorsese thing.
Yeah,
super memorable.
The casting is spot on. So then the next night we get to meet my favorite. This is the only night that Scorsese takes off as the dispatch because we bring in Queen Latifah, but then we also bring in Ving Rhames who plays Marcus, and Marcus is the best paramedic of all time. He's like, because at the very beginning there's like an established that Queen Latifah plays a dispatch, so it's a girl, and her name is Dispatch Love, and so Marcus is just constantly on her like, because at one point she's like, I need a call, and he starts singing to her for like a minute. He's like, hey Marcus, people are dying, you do know that, right?
See, this is great too, because this is like you probably like worked with someone like this who's just cannot be like, he's always cheerful no matter how bad the situation is, and it's like and you can tell why Nicolas Cage kind of hates being partnered with him, but you're like, you wish you were him, you know, you wish you could be Ving Rhames in that role, you know,
because like that's his defense, is like never wallowing in despair at all, like he chooses a higher power.
And I think he even warms Nicola Frank's cold heart at points.
A little bit,
so that's the thing. They're going out, like Frank doesn't want. Oh, and then there's a really cool scene where before he goes out, he goes to his to the dispatch, and he's like, "Hey, you said if I was," because they're like, "Hey, you can't be late anymore." He's like, "Well, if you said if I was late again, you're gonna fire me, and you did not fire me. So I think you should fire me now." And the guy's like, "I'll fire you tomorrow."
I know.
Yeah.
Such a good, like, come on, man, you could do it. Just fire me. He's just really trying to talk him into it.
Yeah.
It's like, next time I see you, I'll fire you. How about that? He's like reasoning with him.
I love you. You're a good kid.
And I think that's cool because even the movie begins where it starts off, it says bringing out the dead. It tells you that this takes place in the 90s. And then we immediately jump into like a call. And so like the movie never really feels like it slows down for you. It feels like, no, we're just going, and you can kind of decide what you want to pay attention to and not.
Right. You jump like right into Frank's headspace for sure. Just like, and there's like so many kind of like the cinematography in this movie is like so cool. Like there's like a lot of like shots like inside the ambulance where Nicolas Cage is just like, his head's just like flicking around like psychotically and like fast forward kind of motion. Like the lights are just always flashing. Like it really puts you in that perspective, and like you feel as crazy as Nicolas Cage does the entire movie. If the mood is palpable.
It's manic.
Yeah, very manic.
And so we see so they go out to a club. And
they get a call at a goth club, and I do love because as they're going through the crowd, the cigar never leaves Ving Rhames' mouth, even like during the job. It's like the coolest paramedic ever, you know.
The cigar chopping ambulance man.
He gets there and there's a kid, and like Ving Rhames goes to him, and he like doesn't really even feel his vitals, but he's like, "Oh, this kid is dead. Let's get the body bag." And then Frank is like, "Hey, he's not really dead. He just OD'd. We can probably bring him back."
Narcan,
And then Marcus is like, "He's dead unless you guys start telling me the truth." And so he's like, what happened here? And so they eventually tell him he's OD'd. And so then Ving Rhames gets them all into a prayer circle, and he's like, what's the kid's name? And they're like, because they're like, oh, this kid just signed a record deal with our band today. And so they're all like, his bandmates are around him. And he's like, well, what's his name? And they're like, his name is
I.B. Bangin'.
Is I.B. Bangin'. Yeah.
But what's his real name?
Oh, it's like, because it's like, what's
Frederick.
His name? It's Frederick, and he says Freddie. It's like Frederick, and he's like I.B. Bangin', like he doesn't care.
Yeah, because he goes, okay, because he goes, what's his real name? And he goes, his real name's Frederick. And he's like, all right, Freddie. And then she goes, it's Frederick. He's like, all right, I'll be banging.
Yeah. And he leads these goths in a prayer circle.
Yeah.
As so they just do in the dark.
And it's also funny because, like, and this is why I do think, well, I think that this has a lot of agnostic. Well, it doesn't really want you to decide on the religion as much as some of Scorsese's other films, because we go from that, and Ving Rhames is like, we literally prayed to bring this guy back to life, and then he's like, he's doing his preacher gospel, and then the guy literally like snaps out of it and like jumps up right away because, like, if you don't know,
Nicolas Cage just done the Narcan,
yeah. If you have an OD and they put the Narcan in you, you're gonna wake up pretty quickly because your heart is restarting. Right. Like, and so he wakes up and they're like, yeah, and he's like, rise up, like very Baptist. Yeah. And we go from that, and then their next call is and then it's also funny because this happens throughout the whole time, is that Nicolas Cage is like, hey, time to drink. So he's like, I know you're holding. He's like, oh yeah, here's some whiskey. But then the next call they go to is it's two migrants in like an abandoned apartment building, and they're both about 16.
Yeah.
And one of them is very clearly pregnant, and the guy's like, oh well, she started crying. She says there's something wrong with her stomach, and Frank is like, well, she's pregnant. And then he's like, no, we're virgins. Like, we've never had sex before. And, like, immediately Marcus, who's, like, very religious, is like, I don't think so, guys. I think you guys have been having some fun down here. You know?
And I want to say, too, like the apartment that they go into as well, and this kind of happens, like, throughout the movie, like, they make these locations seem like they're on, like, a different planet or, like, in a different, like, David Lynch kind of dimension. Like, it's so liminal and weird, and, like, they have to go, like, every staircase is, like, the most narrow staircase, and it all just feels, like, so dangerous, and they're, like, stepping on glass or, like, whatever. Like, the places they have to go really reflect how, like, Nicolas Cage feels about what he's doing. Like, he's just, like... in a dark place that doesn't really exist anywhere. Yeah, they're in hell, essentially.
Well, see, and I think like, that's really cool is that they everything feels so claustrophobic in a way that you assume that New York would be. Like, you see, I think that's really cool part about this movie is that when you see New York in a lot of movies, you know, we're really dealing with like Succession high rises or like, you know, Madam Web, everyone's favorite movie, Madam Web's, like the city looks pretty empty. In this movie, no part of the city looks like an Old Navy ad. You know, like it all looks
nothing looks good.
Lived in. It looks kind of gross, like
kind of a mass of. Well, even he's like, oh, this like there's literally a ghost on every block because I've seen someone die on like every corner, like at that point. So it's like it's definitely like kind of haunted. But
and it really rides that line of supernatural or not supernatural in like a really cool way for sure.
This is the other thing where I say it's Catholic because it's like a virgin birth that's obviously not a real virgin birth, but it is, you know, like they're making a point and like about it because he swears they're both virgins. Obviously, she's not, you know.
Debunking virgin birth is a very big part of Catholicism.
You know what? It's a commentary.
And
it's faith versus faith loss.
That's why I'm confused as to why you saw this, and they clearly debunked the virgin birth, and like they don't do it, and you're like, that's Catholicism. Right?
Well, no, because then she's not, and she's giving birth to twins, and that's kind of the whole thing is that one comes out just fine, and the other has serious issues.
To be fair, again, to be clear, there are no twins in the virgin birth of Christmas. There was only one. This is the life of Brian. That's a whole different religion. That's a Monty Python.
And then there's something that there's like a part of this is kind of important. I don't really know the first time it gets brought up, but like, so we have this baby who has complications. One is just fine, which is the one that Ving Rhames holds, and then the one that has complications is the one that Nicolas Cage holds. Obviously, he's on his bad luck streak. But they talk a lot about mouth-to-mouth resuscitation in this movie. And it's like, that's kind of like a weird taboo where it's like, will you do that or won't you do that? Because it's like, you don't know where any of these people's mouths have been.
Right.
And like, you could get herpes or AIDS or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so it's like dangerous. Yeah. But a baby's different. Baby's different.
And I do wonder if that was kind of like one of those things where it's like, I do want to debunk this in the script, because up until this point, like even now, you know, you see a lot of times where like someone will get shot and they'll be doing like the mouth to mouth, and they'll be doing the chest compressions. It's like, but I've gotten like the certification for CPR, and the first thing they tell you is it's not for everything. It's only if you're having like a heart attack or if your heart stops, you know. So if you get like shot, your heart might not be stopping. There'd be no reason to do it. And the other thing they tell you, that a lot of times when you they even tell you like, do not do mouth to mouth because they might end up throwing up, and that's what happens a lot of the times. And so it's going to go into your mouth. And so they'll tell you like, here's what to do instead of that. And especially now with COVID and stuff. I took this before COVID, but even back then, I took this maybe like 2017, 18. Even back then, they were like, don't really do mouth to mouth. But you can even see like, it's this weird kind of like, and I think maybe he's making a bigger point with it because it's this weird kind of like hypocrisy of medical care where it's like, you need to give them oxygen because that's going to help them. Right. But you shouldn't give them oxygen because that's gross. And so it's like, do you take, because even when I was in class, they're like, oh yeah, what you should do is always have this like mouth guard so you can put it over their mouth and start getting out. In my head, I was like, but if someone's having a heart attack, I'm going to stop to give them like a mouth guard, you know?
Right.
And so it's a little weird that like, and I think that maybe that's kind of the point they're doing, is that every part of what they're doing, there's a hypocritical kind of piece to it where it's like one baby survives, one baby dies, one nurse wants everyone to like get the best care, one nurse is like over it and just wants to hit the reality of the situation. You have the different kind of, and so it's like there's a lot of parallels in this movie. There's a lot of like, this person thinks this and this person thinks this. Not to say either of them are wrong, but here's like the scope and here's how far that can lead, you know?
Right. It gives you like all the different multiple choices to like see like what you kind of think. Right. And, like you're kind of like with Frank, who doesn't really have an answer yet either. So he's like a perfect guide to like to follow around through this world of like, well, is there a point to Frank's life? Is he doing anything? What should he be doing? Yeah. And it's like, I think like, that's what we were talking earlier too. Like that's what makes it such like an interesting watch, because it's about such a big thing, which is saving lives. And it's like, what is a life? Is someone's life better than someone else? No, but if you're an ambulance driver, it might seem that way sometimes.
It's kind of like perfectly articulated, because it's like because of the scene, like they rush the babies to the hospital, and like the one dies, and you can kind of see it literally cut, like it's like that's all Nick Cage or Frank can focus on. And then Ving Rhames, he's just like beaming, super happy that like the one lived. So it's like literally the yin and the yang, like the two sides.
Like, when you save a little baby, your day is just so much better. It's like, okay, guy. Also, too, I just want to say, I did say that you could possibly get HIV from doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You cannot. That is not true. I just want to fact check myself on that.
They would both have to have cuts in their mouths. You can't.
Right. It would be such a weird place.
Yeah.
William
was still using George W. Bush's.
Yeah. Well, I learned in school.
And I think
you get it from kissing.
That's a very good breakdown of Frank's character, is that they went up to this house, they both take care of these teens, they saved one of their babies. I mean, these are migrant people who have been living in filth for the fact that either of those babies survived is like a miracle, you know?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
And so, but instead of Frank focusing on the fact that the mother's healthy and they were able to save one of the babies, he can only focus on the fact that that other baby died because that's the baby that was his. But it's like, but you're not. And I think that's maybe the biggest thing with Frank is that, and again, it's like that thing where maybe that kind of draws into the religious allegory. Like, you're not in charge of whether these people live or die. No matter how much you say you want to be, no matter how many ghosts you see, whatever happens to them is going to happen to them because the body eventually just shuts down or just ends or whatever.
Right. Totally.
And so you have to, like, you're there to help, but you're not there in control of anything. I think that's what is Frank's biggest thing, is that he's trying to catch this control and he like can't. And so I think, like, again, it's just constant parallels throughout the whole movie, you know?
Yeah. And he only finds people on the brink. Like, it's not like he's like a pediatrician who like can like help a kid with measles. It's like, no, you're going to these old people who are like having heart attacks.
Yeah, because at one point he's like, oh, are they all cardiac arrests? Can I get like fractured hands or something? Like,
right.
It's over and over again.
He's
it's
like,
people's
I
hearts.
want a gunshot. I want a car getting run over. I will also say it's kind of like that thing, and I'm so glad I get to use this analogy, like that show Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. There's always like an article like 90% of these stores that went on Kitchen Nightmares ended up closing
down,
75%, like a high percentage. But it's like, yeah, man, it's not called Kitchen Daydreams. It's called Kitchen Nightmares. Like, these are
right.
I don't like 90% of the time. Even if a famous chef shows you on TV and changes your menu, it's not going to help bad management. You know, it's not going to go bad.
Yeah, right. The owners are still going to be the owners
or something. Yeah, you know.
And so I think that's the thing that Frank is really like trying to figure out. And it's also the thing where we meet Patricia Arquette again, and she's like super frustrated because she's saying like, they're telling me one thing, they're telling me another. And anyone who's had a loved one in our medical system, especially in the American medical system, you know, like how difficult and how kind of frustrating that can be when they're like, nobody's telling you the same thing, you know? Or like, they like kind of release him, but he hasn't really gained consciousness again. Like he like will grab her hand, but then he went into a seizure. So it's like, was this voluntary or not, you know? And so I think it's just everyone trying to make sense of the American healthcare system and how we treat.
Just coping from both sides, really.
Yeah, totally.
And so they run into each other, and she's frustrated, and so she tells them like, "Oh, I'm sober," and she goes, "Are you sober?" And he's like, "Not when I can help it."
Yeah. And he's so awkward. Like, he's like, "Not at all, but I'm ashamed." Yeah. Like, he's so good, dude.
Yeah, he plays them like Robert Pattinson plays the Batman, like a weirdo. And so I'm just gonna have a running tally, like how many times did Andrew shit on the Batman this episode? Bam, one.
There we go.
But so they meet, and then she's like, "Oh, I've been sober for this many years," and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go meet a friend."
Yeah, I'm gonna go meet my friend, but can you stay?
You want to come?
Can you stay?
Yeah, I'm gonna meet a friend, but I should be back in like 30 minutes, which is I've played that game before. It's never 30 minutes. And if I don't come back down, just ring the buzzer. Don't go up there, but ring the buzzer, and
it's funny because the whole time she's like, well, just stay like just right here so they can see you at the window, and then she's like, he's like, I can come with you. She's like, well, just stay in the elevator. She's like, well, just don't go in the room, but like in 15 minutes, maybe if I'm not back. Like, it's like she keeps justifying it like more and more. You know?
Yeah. And this is where we meet Cliff Curtis, where he's
psychos.
He's the drug dealer. And he's playing red wine constantly, just all the time. Every time we see his character,
his decor is obviously like the super trashy drug dealer decor. But what I love the most is it's like a slightly 3D painting of a volcano on the wall that steam comes out of.
Yeah.
Totally.
His whole house is amazing.
It's like
and in the fish tank.
So crazy. Yeah.
And he calls it like the relaxation den or something.
Yeah.
But it's like a crack house that has nice paint, kind of. Trashy, nice paint.
In movies and in real life, if you have a fish tank, you're a very particular type of person. That's true to life. And it's true to every movie.
Yeah. You might have villainous qualities.
Yeah, you can't put a fish tank behind me and be like, that's a normal guy who just loves fishes. Like, no, man.
That's also
that guy.
I love this because this is the scene like because while Psychotes is talking to him, he suddenly just gets super fixated on the fish tank, and you know when you've been so tired, you're just like staring at something, and it's just one of those like
totally.
He just like drifts so much. I was like, God, I've felt that way like so many times before, you know, or it's just like, you're just like, It's like, I just need to go to sleep, but I have so much garbage to deal with,
Right.
Yeah. And so then this is the first time we actually see Frank go to sleep. He falls asleep, and then he has a dream where he's like helping all the ghosts.
They give him drugs, they give him something.
Yeah, they do give him something, right? Oh, and he makes a point to say, Psychotes makes a point to say, he doesn't do Red Death. He doesn't deal in Red Death.
Yeah, he says
those kids are going down.
But he says this is the Red Lion, and he makes a Hakuna Matata reference, which this movie takes place in 1994 canonically. So
it's in the Lion King universe.
Then he passes out from the drugs, and I usually don't like drug sequences, but I do like him helping people out of the street like they're ghosts. Well,
I think it works.
This one was really good.
It's kind of an extension of the hallucinations he's already
delirium.
Been having,
right. It's not really different from how he is in waking life. Yeah,
that's true.
Pretty similar.
That's true.
If anything, it makes more sense than when he's usually asleep.
And all the ghosts kind of had like Lord of the Rings vibes in a way, like how the ghosts kind of like Lord of the Rings, like they're kind of like evaporated, but he's like pulling them out of the street. And I was like, Peter Jackson probably saw this and was like, let's go.
And it's kind of cool because he pulls them out and they kind of like disappear, which is kind of the opposite normally of what happens, where they like they're leaving New York essentially. They're leaving the literal mortal world. And then he wakes up and then he grabs the girl and he just kind of takes her out of there. And they're like, "Hey Frank, see, she's asleep," which is like. It's like, yeah, man, we don't know who you are or what's going on.
Actually, I do like, because you almost think this is going to be some heroic struggle, and then the Psychotes is just like, yeah, no, it's fine, just let him go. You owe me $10.
He's not trying to have any trouble. He's not trying to have anyone come to his house.
He does not care at all about this.
Yeah. So then eventually they go back and she tells him, they kind of like, it's not really a love interest. It's more in the fact, like, and again, if you've ever had someone close to you die, you do feel this where you kind of feel like you're in a dream world and you're like meeting people that would normally not be that important, but are now important just because of the importance of the situation. And I kind of feel like that's what they're honing in on here, where they
they're both kind of like in a shift.
Like they probably wouldn't have such a connection if they didn't see each other so much in such an emotional, vulnerable state for both of them.
100%.
Right.
Agree,
And
if they met on the street, it'd be whatever.
She calls this out even because, like, once they're outside, he puts her down and she's like, "Why are you following me?" And he's like, "Because you can barely walk." And he's like,
this is a great conversation.
And he's like, "I just need to sit down for a minute." And she's like, "Oh, so you want to just fuck me? Fine, everyone has." So just like leading him up, it's like, kind of saying like, "No, I'm not your love interest. This is just some like shit."
Right.
Yeah.
And also Nicolas Cage does not want to because he can barely even walk himself. So it's like, trust me, this guy's safe.
He cannot do anything physical.
But I almost like that she kind of does the thing where she's like talking about, like, it's just trying to open up to him when they do get upstairs and like tell him about her life, and he instantly falls asleep.
And she's like, "You can't stay here." And she says, like, she tells him he can't stay there in a way that kind of seems like she's told a lot of people they can't stay here. And so it's kind of like an interesting look into like her, because she used to be addicted to drugs, isn't addicted to drugs anymore, had kind of a relapse. But it's just like interesting little tidbits into her character, like how, I don't know, just how she interacts with Nicolas Cage. It's like she's so sweet at the hospital, and then like here it's like she's real.
Like she's like, I've been sober 2 years, and she actually has a nice little like apartment. It's not like a crap.
She's turning it around.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you can kind of see that she has, like, again, she's always dressed as an office, so it kind of feels like she has a job. She has a nicer place, so it kind of feels like she's getting her life together. And this is, again, as someone who recently went through something like this, it stops you in your tracks, and it like, we're making a lot of progress, and now it's a year later, and you're like, okay, now I got to start really focusing on progress. But and then before the second night ends, he goes to see the father because now he's a little bit more invested, and then the father is like
Mr. Burke
to him. I mean, again, if you're watching this movie, we haven't really set it up until this point, but keep in mind this is a very dark comedy, but it is a comedy. There's a lot of humor in it, and this is one of those. It's one of the most messed up but funny scenes where like the dad or Nicolas Cage thinks the dad's talking to him, and the dad's essentially saying, "Please let me die. Like I cannot."
Right.
Because he's
barely alive. He can like, he has a heartbeat every once in a while, and he's just obvious. If he's conscious at all, he's suffering so much.
Yeah, and his brain, and like, yeah, they even say that when he's awake, he's constantly trying to pull the thing that helps him breathe out of his mouth. So they have to sedate him just 24/7. And so he's kind of waking up. He's looking at Nicolas Cage. So Nicolas Cage is imagining that he's saying, like, let him die. And every time Nicolas Cage tries to save him, he, like, curses out Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, he glares at him so hard the guy has such a good glare that he has, like, the incubator in his mouth or intubator, but, like, his eyes wide looking at Cage when they're resuscitating him is like, and Nicolas Cage is, like, cowering away from him, like, I'm so sorry, dude. I can't let them kill you. That's not how this works.
A very underrated thing, and I think not just Scorsese, but I think it's every great director, you see it in them. Even, like, I just said great director, but even prolific, I guess, because even Michael Bay does this, where all the side characters are memorable. Like, the casting in this, like, because they could have gotten anyone. Yeah. It's essentially a role where a dude is just lying on a bed for the whole entire, like, he never wakes up really. But the fact that they got someone with such expressive eyes really sells the role, and it makes you understand what's going on. It's the same thing with, like, you know, Patricia Arquette as this kind of, like, she looks like she's been through a lot, but she looks like she's trying to get it together. Nicolas Cage, of course. And also, even, like, putting Ving Rhames, we forgot to mention this, but Ving Rhames, if you know who Ving Rhames is and what he looks like, he's wearing a cool-ass wig. It's, like, super stylized. He looks
kind
like
of 50s kid, sort of. I don't know. Yeah, it's really weird.
And so,
it's
like,
kind of angelic, cherubic.
Yeah, you look at Marcus and you're like, okay, I pretty much know how this guy acts before he even opens his mouth, just based on how he carries himself and the way he looks and his hair, you know. And so that's the second night, and now we're on the third shift, and this is where they've asked him to re-team up with his old partner, played by Tom Sizemore. We've seen him periodically throughout the night. Another great thing that kind of makes the world feel bigger, like when he's with John Goodman, Frank, when he's with John Goodman, he has a conversation with Marcus. When they're with John Goodman, they find a gunshot wound, and Tom Sizemore comes and he takes one of the bodies, and the other guy takes the other one. So you're always seeing them kind of together in the way that you see coworkers, you know, like
you meet everybody at one time as opposed to it being episodic. It's kind of this is just the pool of drivers that we're going to get.
Yeah,
100%.
Because you're not always going to have the same shift with everyone, but since you guys have similar shifts, you're probably going to see them once in a while. The same thing happened with me in the news. Like, as soon as we would come in, we would leave to go do stories, to go report fake Democrats stealing elections. But in the meantime, like, you might run into a reporter doing another type of story, or you might, you know, if there's a big bomb threat or something, all the reporters meet together to kind of, like, cover it. And so it is that kind of, like, running into people.
And they do a good job, because you get the sense that he's a psycho, which, again, Tom Sizemore, so good casting. But not only because of what he does later, where he absolutely is like a psychopath, but Nick Cage's reaction is the most, like, no, please no, when he finds out that's who he's going to be partnered with. And it just cuts to him in, like, the back of the ambulance, doing, like, a little makeshift IV where he's just like, I'm just going to give myself a little adrenaline, and he has the mask on his face, and he's like,
he looks
these are hard times, Tom. Just, like, staring at him. And he's like, because that's what it's going to take to, like, get through this makeshift. You know?
And it's like, he doesn't want to be with Tom Sizemore, because Tom Sizemore is, like, just every dark part of Nicolas Cage in this movie expressed as, like, one human. Like, this is the man who will make him break if he's going to break.
Instead of seeing, like, the good in people, he's like, I'm a warrior. Like, he sees, like, he's against the city, not like like helping it. He's like, everyone out here is, like, against me, you know.
He's the type of guy who would refer to himself as an alpha male, essentially. Like,
sovereign citizen.
He would be voting MAGA.
We forgot to mention that when they're when he's with Marcus, the last thing that happens is that they're driving, and Marcus is going way too fast for literally no reason whatsoever. They get a call, but they're driving there, and then Marcus crashes the ambulance. But one thing, the reason I want to bring it up is because there's a really great moment in there where, like, Frank just walks off because he's like, I'm done with this job, like, screw this place. And Marcus tells him as he's, like, running off, he's like, you think quitting's gonna get rid of those ghosts? That's not how it works, Frank. And it's very funny because earlier in the movie he had talked to Marcus about the ghosts, and Marcus kind of, like, looked at him like, I don't know what the hell you're talking. Like, are you insane, buddy? And then so for him to acknowledge it at the end, it's like, all of them kind of see these, whether they're ghosts or whether they're just
it happens to all.
It's affecting all of them, but it's just like which one of them. Like Frank's the only one who's willing to acknowledge that it's bearing on their souls.
Right. Yeah. Everybody else has their defense. Like either practical John Goodman, sort of religious Ving Rhames, or insane Thomas Sizemore, who just becomes like a Colonel Kurtz kind of figure, just one with the darkness in a bad way.
Yeah. And so they get the first call, and the first call is to the same apartment buildings where Coates was, and they look up, and there's like there's something going on at the very top. So they go up, and they see that they're under a floor below Coates' apartment. And they go in and they
think it's a jumper, like a guy.
I think it's a suicide.
They think it's a guy who wants to jump.
And the crowd's like,
just let him jump. Apartment first, right? Because that's where
I think so. They go there first,
So they go into his apartment. They think it's a jumper, and they notice that something like the windows open. And they're like, "Oh shit, let's go to the floor below us." They go to the floor below us. That's where they find the bodyguard. He's on the floor, kind of like bloody, and he's like been crawling on the floor, and you could tell he's passed out. And then that's who Tom Sizemore's taking care of. Nicolas Cage continues to go out onto the patio. And that's where he sees Coates. And Coates tried to jump off of the second floor because the Red Death gang was trying to kill them. And he, instead of like landing on the balcony like his friend, and he even goes, "I've been trying to stay in shape, and that's why I didn't land as good because I'm too skinny."
He's the wind.
Like guardrail. He's impaled on it, but it's also the only thing keeping him up. And so like Frank A has to find out how they can get him off of the gate that's going through his body, but so that he doesn't fall down like 40 flights of like 40 floors, or probably 20 floors, not that high, but it's 20 floors. He's not going to survive that fall.
Whatever it would be would kill him.
Like it's I don't know if they're 100% projects, but they do look like project housing. So if you've ever seen project housing in a big city, they're that tall. They're usually like 17, 20 floors up.
Yeah.
And so they're talking. Also, Red Wine is playing the whole time. I tell you, it's playing the whole time. Every time Coach goes up.
It's a good time. Well, yeah, because they decide they're gonna have to blowtorch him off, like by cutting the spike, impaling him without removing it, because that he would bleed out immediately if they did that.
Another thing that's like a huge Hollywood thing is like if you get stabbed, and like in Hollywood they always pull it out, but that just like sometimes the metal or whatever's stabbing you is holding everything together. So if you take it out, you're just gonna start bleeding. So like a lot of times they tell you not to take it out. Like with arrows, they tell you not to take them out. That's why arrows are so bad, because when you pull it out, it creates a bigger indent as you pull out the actual arrow.
Right.
So if you ever get stabbed, kids, don't pull it out.
Or shot with an arrow.
If you ever do Red Death, don't jump off the balcony unless you've gained 20 pounds.
And something else about this scene. Whenever they first go to the apartment too, this is just a little detail that was so fun. But when he first gets up to Si's apartment, it's like there's water everywhere with the blood, and somebody in the background's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy left his bathtub running." And as like Frank walks into the apartment, he doesn't even mention anything, but all that water, there's like dead fish everywhere. So it's like the fish tank that he was like staring at earlier. That was just such a fun like how they did that was so fun, because like no one even mentions it, but like you as the audience, you're like, "Oh no, that was the fish, dude. You don't have any idea what goes on here."
I know. It's the wrong place. And so there's also a cool part where they're cutting him, and then, like it's so shitty because he's like hanging off the road, and Frank's trying to talk to him like, "Here's what we're gonna do," and the cop's like, "If he falls, it's not like the worst thing that could happen today."
Yeah, the cops don't care at all. Like they are fine if this drug dealer dies.
The firemen are like cutting the wire. And Frank, he's holding him, and they've given him drugs, so Coates is like super high, and he's like looking at the sparks,
like in
the wind, and he's like, cool. And eventually they cut through, and he falls, and Frank's able to catch him, and they pull him back. And then they're like, "Wow, Frank, good thing we had you harnessed up." And then Coates is like, "Did you guys harness me up?" And then the two cops are like, "Oh, guess we forgot."
Oh no, we forgot. Well, what's kind of interesting too about that, like the cops like thinking he's just like a drug dealer. Like whenever you first meet Si, he's like, even though he is a drug dealer, there's a part of you that kind of believes, because he thinks he has a mission to help these people that come to him like relax. Like He's like, people come here to escape this world because they have no other way to escape, and I'm here to heal them. I'm here to like help them on their spiritual journey. And while yes, he is a drug dealer, it's like, I don't know. I'm not here to judge when people do drugs or not.
Right.
But it's like, obviously that's dangerous. But there's kind of like a parallel to him and Frank a little bit, where it's like, what is he doing? Is it good or bad? I don't know. It's just kind of another facet of all this.
Just as much as the hospital, because it's like they're both like not really helping, but they're kind of helping. Yeah.
Right. It's symptomatic instead of holistic.
Yeah. It's this illusion of help or of
yeah.
You know.
Right.
And I think like you have also because he even says like, again, I think that's a big part of it is him saying he doesn't do Red Death because he's there to like help people, not to kill them, you know. And so I think but again, it's like it's so funny because to the cops they don't give a shit. He's just a drug dealer, you know, like he's just another one.
I do like to because when they do get him up and it just cuts them back to the hospital where he's actually in Noel's bed. Kind of like the gurney he was strapped to at the beginning, but he's like, Frank, you saved my life, and he's just like, yeah, I know, and just like walks away, like just so like consumed by like cynicism. Is like that doesn't. I don't. That's fine. Whatever.
And I think that's a great part about this movie is there's so many people that Frank saves throughout this movie, whether it's the girl and the mom, this kid I be banging. You know, but he doesn't consider those saves. And it's like, is he not? Like, because he tells you at the beginning, it's been 6 months, I haven't saved anyone. But it's like, is that really the case? Or even like
or you
the
just
dad.
don't see it when you save them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even the dad, they saved him technically. They brought him back to life. They got a pulse again. They got him to the hospital where they're trying to keep him on life support. But Frank doesn't count any of those. He just counts the deaths. And it's so funny to see him. Not funny, but it's part of the movie that the irony of him not seeing the forest for the trees, you know, like he can't accept that he's doing good, even though throughout the whole movie he's inadvertently doing good. Like he's constantly saving people, sometimes even by accident, you know.
100%.
And so I think it's like it's that thing where, and again, one of the great things about Scorsese, which is also like hurts now in the age of no media literacy, is that he never tells you what he thinks. But if you pay attention to what he's actually telling you, you can kind of see what it like. Wolf of Wall Street, people are like, well, he never judges Jordan. It's like, well, if you pay attention to that movie, it's very clear what he thinks of Jordan Belfort. Like,
he's a sadistic animal.
Especially like compared to like Goodfellas. It's like, no. One of these guys he thinks is a piece of shit way more than another guy, you know. And in this one, it's kind of the same thing where he never tells you that Frank is saving these people because Frank never acknowledges that he's saving these people. So you have to see for yourself, like, oh shit, he's actually doing good. He's just so blinded by his depression and by his like, you know,
his disillusionment, his loss of faith. Yeah,
and that happens. 100%. You know, when you are depressed and disillusioned, it's hard to see the good. You know, it's hard to see the wins. You know.
Yeah.
And so after that, then Frank is like, we gotta go, because then they go. There's a very funny part where they go like to a suicide attempt. Of course, you know that hilarious.
Oh, right.
There's this guy, and he's like, he said he's killing himself, but he's clearly like a bum who just wants to get back into the hospital.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you didn't even really cut yourself good. Like,
yeah, like, this is the down the I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you make me sick.
Tom Sizemore's like, oh well, let's take you back. We're gonna give you this new medication. He puts like that thing that you put for the defibrillators,
right? Like an electrode,
the sticker.
He puts it on his head. And he's like, this is going to tell you whether you're sick or not. If it ever turns green, that means you need to get to a hospital right away. And of course, it's never going to turn green because it's not anything.
It's insane. Yeah.
Right. Frank is like, I can't believe you won't kill yourself. You should kill yourself. It's so easy to kill yourself. He like pulls out a knife and he's like, do it. Do it in front of us. And the guy like runs away.
Tom Sizemore's just cracking up.
Yeah. And then Tom Sizemore says one of my favorite lines. So he's running away and Tom Sizemore goes, we cured him.
Yeah.
Actually,
torturing this homeless mental case.
I do like because after this, Frank's like, "Come on, man, we just gotta like break some windows or something." And it's like he's almost too crazy for Tom Sizemore for a little bit, where he's like, "Well, that's just anarchy, Frank. Like we need to find a reason to like mess someone
break
up,
the window.
You know, like we can't just destroy stuff. Like
And so they run into Noel, and that's where Tom is like, "Oh well, let's." So funny that his name's Tom in the movie and in real life. Like you can't get more
I know.
unhinged name than Tom.
Just Tom and Tom,
Yeah.
And so they run into Noel.
Noel smashing windows with a baseball bat.
And it's also like it's again, and I think that's why I kind of like this movie so much, because it's this thing where it's like none of these people are necessarily good people, but they're all like, they even like Patricia Arquette even says like Noel used to be normal, but then he kind of got into drugs, he lost his housing, and now he's just like this all the time.
Someone shot him, I think is what she says too.
Yes.
Yeah, in the head.
Yeah. And so they're like, this is just how he is now. But like at no point whenever we run into Noel, like we run into him at the beginning, he's like trying to get people to kill him, and he's like running and lying down in the middle of the street so he gets run over. But he's clearly not trying to really get killed. It's more for like just to be a nuisance. But he's also like whipping blood. He like pours, like he like flicks blood all over.
Yeah,
he's just kind of like this like ever-present homeless man who's like doing everything bad that a homeless person could do. Like
he is the chaos that he has to live with all the time. He's like the symbol of all that.
Like he's never better. He's never gone. He's just always around. You know.
Even now when they see him, he's literally like he has a baseball bat and he's just breaking the back of windows for really no reason. Like he just goes from car to car and breaks their rear window. And so they decide to beat him up. And this is where Frank, he starts hallucinating again. And he like goes into like, he's like following the girl and everything like that. And he like snaps out of it right enough to save Noel, which is also like Tom has to be so confused. Because he's like, the fact that he's like, they agreed to beat him up, and then Frank is like, stop him like immediately.
Well, first Frank helps him smash windows for a bit. He's like, yeah, that sounds good. It's just like, he's just doing whatever.
He wanted to. He literally just said he wanted to break windows.
Yeah.
And then like Tom Sizemore's like he like ducks down behind Noel so that Nicolas Cage can like push him over him or something.
The alley-oop,
yeah. And then Tom Sizemore gets so mad. It's also like nobody's done that since like the second grade, man. And it barely worked then. And so then we won't tell you what happens to the dad. I think you should go watch it.
This is a strong ending. I mean, the whole movie's strong. This is like a great.
It's a little hard to talk, as you can see. Like we've kind of talked about themes throughout the whole thing, but it's very theme heavy. It's not really very plot heavy. Like there is stuff happening constantly, but it's more. The importance isn't stuff happening. The importance is how the characters are reacting to that stuff. And I just think it's very underappreciated. The soundtrack is amazing. It's one of my favorite Scorsese soundtracks. Especially like if you need cruising music, it's like the best cruising soundtrack of all time. For my Mexicans out there. And it looks beautiful. Like, I mean, it looks gringy and dirty and gross, but in a very amazing way. Like it has that. It even does that 1999 Matrix Fight Club kind of like flash editing, but it's not bad. It works in this movie. Like it works in the same way it works in those. But
and it's like one of my notes that I wrote was like, I'm so biased towards that time period too, that it's like getting to see Scorsese do this, it's like, yes, thank God.
Did him and Nick Cage ever do anything together again, or is this it? It's like such a good.
The only film they worked together.
Yeah,
such a like perfect synthesis of like his acting as directing, you know.
Yeah. Well, Nick, it's also funny because Nicolas Cage doesn't really look like a Scorsese actor, you know. So it's like,
I know.
But also think about this: 1999, you have The Matrix, you have Bringing Out the Dead, you have Eyes Wide Shut, you have The Insider. So like, it is kind of, because we do talk about like, oh well, this time period is like we have nostalgia for it, but it's like, well, yeah, look at the fucking Godzilla 2000.
It rocked. Yeah.
The greatest movies of all time. Ghost Dog. Okay, apparently we just cover movies. Because also, End of Days. Bone Collector.
Oh,
we cover every single movie.
Telling you, man. We can't not be ourselves.
Rebecca, one of our first episodes.
It's the 90s, baby.
Yeah.
The Blair Witch Project. It was a banger year for movies. And I think Audition, oh my God. But 1999 is one of the best years for movies. And I think this movie, it's easy to see kind of why it gets lost just because of look at what it's going up against, the Green Mile. You know, like everyone is doing home runs in this year. But I do think that it's worth watching. It's very heavy. It's very funny, but it's very dark. But I think it's like a career high for Nicolas Cage, for Ving Rhames, for a lot of these actors. Not really for John Goodman because he's great and everything, but for a lot of them, it's like some of their best work. And so I think if you have a chance to watch it, you definitely should.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And the new poster is like chill, but the old poster that we were talking about earlier with the cross and like the red, stark red Nicolas Cage face, iconic. Like, oh my god.
And right now it's on Pluto TV, so you have no excuse not to watch it because it's free. So
and it's on sale on Amazon for $1.99 as of December 21st.
So go watch it, and then we will see you guys next year on the Bomb Squad. We have a couple of cool things to come out, and of course, as always, we will be doing our end of the year list. So get ready for those. If you have any end of the year movies, we want to hear about them. I've already covered 2 of them. The best movies of the year we've already covered, but there's probably other movies that we'll talk about. And also, just real fast before we leave, thank you guys. I mean, right now, I think more people, Josh was saying, more people have seen Hurry Up Tomorrow, our review, than have seen Hurry Up Tomorrow for some reason. We have 80,000 views on that. And the only thing, and right underneath it, Knight Riders. For no reason whatsoever. I don't know why everyone loves Knight Riders.
People love Ed Harris from the 80s.
Even this year alone, through the shorts, through the reviews you guys have really been watching, even through the podcast. If you guys don't know, we're also on Spotify. If you haven't subscribed there, go subscribe there. We're also on Apple. Any place you got podcasts, we're probably on there. But big thank you to you guys. I mean, we're going to keep doing it. Hopefully you're enjoying it. We get some more deep dives out there. Yeah. Let's see what happens next year on the Bomb Squad.